Hello everyone and welcome back to the Budget Gourmet. If you're new here, my name is Dan and I help you and your family try to create delicious meals all while saving a little bit of cash. I don't really have anything too crazy for this week. I've just been short on time. It's the holiday season. This is a perfect meal, cozy night in. It's cold outside, it's windy, the snow is falling. Maybe you have your Christmas tree up and the lights and you're watching a holiday movie. This is where home cooking reaches its peak. Some of my favorite recipes growing up and some of my favorite home cooked meals were always revolved around the holidays. And this is definitely one of those just like classic go-to comfort meals. All we're going to be making today is a pan-fried chicken breast paired along with some beautiful mashed potatoes, a homemade gravy, and some seared asparagus as well. Guys, thank you so much for your support and continuing to watch the channel and liking and commenting and sharing. It just means a lot, and it's so wonderful to know that there are 255 of you at the current time of filming this who have been supporting and just continuing to make this channel what it is. It's just really awesome to see everybody engaging, just sharing their love for food, different recipes. We're really building a community here, and I'm just so thankful and grateful to each and every one of you who have subscribed, everyone that just comes across and even just watches. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Thank you.
Okay, so the first part of our mise en place that we're going to be doing is prepping our potatoes. I'm going to start out by rinsing and scrubbing my potatoes and then removing all of the skin from them. Pretty simple. Once the skin is all removed, then we're going to be just chopping them up into bite-sized pieces. The reason that I'm doing this is just so that they cook evenly, because just like snowflakes, not all potatoes are the same. This ensures that they all cook somewhat evenly and will produce a better mashed potato. Once everything has been chopped up, we're going to fill our pot just a little bit over our potatoes and add a generous pinch of salt. And now our potatoes are ready to be boiled. The next part of our mise en place before we start on our chicken, I'm going to be chopping up some parsley, and this will be our garnish. I'm just going to be bundling it up here and doing a rough chop. This is going to add a wonderful color to the dish, also just that little bit of freshness that's going to cut all of the fat and the butter and the richness of the chicken. Speaking of chicken, now it's time to cut up our chicken breast. I'm going to start out by just patting it dry. This is going to create a better sear on our chicken and removing any excess little bits of skin and fat just to make the presentation that much better. Now I'm very carefully going to try my best to split this chicken in half. This again is just going to try to ensure a more even cooking time. After our chicken has been cut, I'm going to generously salt and pepper them, and then I'm just going to let them sit out at room temp for about 30 minutes or so. The last and final part of our preparation is going to be our asparagus. Now, there is a woodier part to the asparagus that isn't as appetizing to eat. If you notice, it actually starts to change into a different color. You can cut this off, but what I like to do is there's an actual just natural break in the asparagus that you can do that will just let you know what is good to eat and what is not good to eat. Now that all of our ingredients are prepped, it's time to start the actual cooking process. And starting out with our gravy, we're going to be melting down some butter, and after our butter is melted, we're going to be adding some flour. We are starting our gravy off by making a roux. Now all a roux is essentially a combination of butter or oil and flour mixed together, and this is essentially a thickening agent for your gravy. What you want to do is on a low heat, after your flour and butter are well combined, you're just going to want to mix it thoroughly to make sure all of the lumps are gone. And also continuing to stir and stir and stir, you'll notice that the color will start to darken. This is going to add a very nutty, beautiful flavor to your gravy. After everything has been thoroughly mixed, you can add seasonings of your choice. I decided to just use a little bit of salt and pepper, and then you're going to want to add your chicken stock a little bit at a time until you reach the right consistency or whatever consistency that you would prefer for your gravy. I prefer mine a little thicker, but that's just me. You do what you want to do. Now it's time to cook our chicken. After letting my pan heat up on a high heat, I'm adding some neutral oil, and then I'm going to be placing my chicken breasts in that oil and just really letting it soak all of that in so it can start to develop a nice, beautiful brown color. In order to develop a nice sear on our chicken, I'm flipping about every minute and a half or so. I'm really wanting that chicken to develop a nice crust. Yes, I'm flipping over the chicken with chopsticks. Why? Because I was too lazy to wash some tongs. After our chicken has been seared and has developed a wonderful brown color, I'm going to be lowering the heat and I'm adding a little bit of butter into the pan here. This is essentially just going to be used to baste the chicken. Basting the chicken helps to keep it moist, helps to cook it faster, and also, you can't go wrong with butter. It's just going to add even more flavor to our chicken. In total, I cooked this chicken for about 10 to 11 minutes. It was still super moist, but you can do that method sort of by feel, or if you want to be safe, just make sure the internal temperature is about 165 degrees Fahrenheit. After our chicken is done cooking, I'm going to let that rest, and let's move on to our potatoes. Like the name implies, I'm going to be mashing them, just adding more butter, a lot of butter, and some milk a little at a time, and mashing them until I get the perfect consistency. I'm not adding any excess seasoning because we salted the water prior, and also our gravy is going to be adding a lot of flavor as well. Moving on to the last and final component of our dish is our asparagus. This is going to be a very quick process. I'm going to start out by placing my asparagus into a dry pan, turning on the heat, and letting those toast in a single layer. Once everything is beginning to toast, I am then going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, just a drizzle, to our asparagus. This is going to allow the asparagus to start to develop some color and crisp up. Afterwards, I'm going to be adding our seasonings. Again, just some salt and pepper, nothing too fancy here. Once our salt and pepper has been added, we're then going to be adding just a little bit of water, and this is going to start to steam our asparagus. And you'll notice the asparagus is going to develop a really bright green, beautiful color. The texture we're looking for is fully cooked, but a little bit of a crunch. And that's really it. Again, this is perfect for a weeknight meal. We're just going to be plating this up. Can't go wrong with chicken, mashed potatoes, a veg, and some homemade gravy. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was absolutely delicious. Me and my family loved it. My apologies if the video seemed a little bit rushed. I'm recording this at 2 a.m. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.